Hi everyone. I decided to make a post commentary on my latest Force Quit run, since I've been doing nothing but offline runs, so there aren't really that many runs with commentary on my channel right now, and the people were asking for it, so might as well. For this run you start as Hunter with the Master Key. You start as Hunter because you need the bow for move swap glitch, and to kill Guinevere later in the run, and you start with Master Key because you need to run through Valley of the Drakes at the start of the run, and you can only get there with the Master Key. And because we choose Master Key, we can't select Fire Bombs for Asylum Demon, so we need to do Melee Asylum, which is a bit slower. Right here you just unequip the armor, because you don't need it at this point in the run. You don't actually need it in the run at all, other than at Quelak, and even there it's kinda optional. Just helps a bit with not taking small amounts of damage from her jumping away from you. This hollow right here is actually kinda important for Asylum times. Sometimes he blocks you for like half a second, and then you can't get the optimal Asylum. Right there I got blocked a bit, but I try to do stamina management that makes him move out of the way more often. But it doesn't always happen still. Here you do a quit out to break this wall. This saves like, I think the quit out itself saves like 1.5 seconds or something like that. But because we need to go up the stairs, we need to do a trick to get through the boulder, and that makes us lose a bit of time. But overall I would say that it saves like half a second to 1 second. So right there you do a roll, and then you backstep forward out of the roll. Which looks nice, but it isn't actually that hard to do. So this is like one of the most annoying parts of the run, getting past these hollows here. They block you maybe half the time or something. Well, maybe not quite that often, but they block you pretty often and kind of waste time. Right there you could see that they wasted a bit of time because I had to roll. There are like different setups for Asylum Demon based on what RNG you get, but it's like a pretty consistent fight with melee. But sometimes it just backsteps away or does an instant attack or something, and then you need to reset, so the Asylum is pretty reset heavy in this run in general. Like the whole start of the run is, because it's a short run, so you can't afford to lose a lot of time at like any point in the run. Right here you open the key menu so that you can sprint immediately when you arrive in Firelink, and then you do that jump over the bench there. That jump is actually really inconsistent. You fail it like more than half the time, and if you want a good run you need to reset if you miss it. So like, that's why I have 448 attempts, even though I've been running this for like 2 weeks. Then you go to New Londo, you pick up the S-Stock because you need it for the move swap glitch. You need it to get the running attack onto your Great Club later in the run. You run through Valley of the Drakes to pick up RTSR, and you also pick up 1 soul on the way. If you want to play it safe you can pick up 2 souls, but if you want to go fast you can only pick up 1. And you need to dupe it with a frame perfect glitch, so that's like one of the heaviest reset points in this run. That's basically like what you're doing here, you're just going to the dupe over and over again and see if you can get it or not. So that's the soul you pick up. You get 2000 souls I think for popping it. You see me do there with the bow is something called bow toggling. Basically right as you start sprinting, if you toggle between the different arrow types, you basically skip the acceleration part of your sprinting, so it saves a bit of time, like a tiny amount of time. But there's nothing better to do there, so you might as well do it. Like overall in the run it might save like a second or something, a short run like this. I got a bit unlucky there at the Drakes, I couldn't run straight at the ladder. And you sometimes get hit by lightning here while climbing this ladder, and that's also a reset. So you pick up ATSR, you roll off this tower. You need to make sure that you don't roll right, like near the edge, because then you don't get a boost from it. Like this game has this weird mechanic where if you roll a bit far away from a ledge, you get some sort of a boost from it. And it makes you actually go further. So like you never want to roll right at the edge, you want to roll like a bit before it. So here I do the dupe glitch once and twice. That's a frame perfect glitch. Well, basically what you do there is you press the consume consumable button, like at the exact right frame, and that uses the item again. If you do it once you can continue the run, and if you do it twice you can get a bit more strength. That sometimes helps a bit at Quelak. But it's not really that important to get it twice, I suppose. Just kinda nice. Here I do the first wrong warp in this run. So the way it works and why this category is called 80% force quit is that you use Alt F4 for it, which is not allowed in any other category than this. So what you do there is that you press Alt F4 at the very end of the loading screen, and that warps you to the default location. And the default location for that area is actually New Londo Ruins. So that's why you do it right there, so you get here to the start and you can run to Blighttown. Here you do a plunge to cancel out the fall damage. This is actually pretty precise. Especially the second plunge can be kinda tricky to do. But if you do a plunge in this game, it allows you to iframe the fall damage by rolling at the end. And that's what you do there. You also want to unequip all your armor for it and all the weapons so that you have the fastest fast roll here. Then you go pick up the Great Club. This is also one of the parts where you can get hit, but it's pretty consistent if you know what you're doing. But you need to pay attention to what RNG you're getting. Like if they're throwing the boulder or trying to hit you with it or whatever. Okay, so what you need to do right here is you need to take fall damage, and in this game if you run against the slope, you can take fall damage. So right here I'm running against the wall and taking a bit of fall damage. This is actually kinda annoying sometimes. Like, sometimes you just don't take enough fall damage here. And then the fight is really slow because you don't need you don't have the red tearstone ring activated. But right here I got like just the right amount of fall damage basically. Where the whole fight will be in ATSR range. And I also got the best opener, so it was pretty lucky here. I attack her butt here, so that I can attack it again and bait out a specific attack. Basically, if you deal enough damage to her butt, you get that attack. In most runs you only need to do one attack, but in this one you actually need to do two to bait it out. But if you set it up during the long lava breath attack, you can pretty much get it. If she does the AoE. And that was a good Quelak fight. That's basically what you want there. Like, I can't complain about that Quelak fight at all. Here you pop Quelak Soul, and then you dupe a Homeward Bone from the Soul Use animation by using the Confirmation Box dupe glitch. Right here I go pick up the Crash Crush Shield, but this isn't actually necessary. You can do the run without it, but it's a bit annoying in some parts of the run, and skipping it saves like a few seconds. So it really isn't worth doing. At least not for me. In the world record you don't pick it up. And if you want a really good time in this category, then I think you have to skip it. But it just adds a bit of RNG to some parts of the run, and I don't like that. And that was also the second wrong warp in this run using Alt F4. It's the same timing as the first one, so it isn't too hard to do. Here you buy 9 Titanite shards from Andre and upgrade your Great Club to +5. I kinda messed up the menuing a bit, so that cost me some time there. And the upgrade menuing was also kinda slow. But the upgrade menuing is actually pretty hard to do fast. I get 29 strength. 28 is enough, but if you get a double dupe, you can get 1 extra strength there. I don't know if it really matters or not, but usually it's just better to get like whatever you have enough souls for, instead of like trying to stop at a specific value. So even though 28 strength is enough there, I get 29 because I can. Here you paid out this Balder Knight. That's also not very consistent, so that Balder Knight is like one of the RNG heaviest parts of the run. I almost died there. I got very lucky that I was able to roll the soul arrow. Now you move swap off the ladder animation. Normally you move swap from a jump, but you can do it from like basically any animation that's long enough. But the ladder is like basically the only other animation other than jump that you use. In most runs at least. But you can do it from like rolling or even backstepping if you have armor on. I didn't get the best possible opener from the first gargoyle. That opener is actually kinda slow in routes like this, because you need to wait a tiny bit before you attack him. But it was okay, it wasn't the worst fight. Like, the fight is really easy when you stagger the gargoyles in one hit, and you have a lot of damage, so the gargoyle fight itself is pretty consistent. There's just like a few seconds of variance if you get the best possible RNG, or the worst possible RNG. Okay, so up next is the most annoying wrong warp in the run. You do it to skip running through this bridge. And the problem with this is that most loading screens in this game are consistent, but that one isn't. There's like I think it's like 6 frames of variance in that loading screen. And for the Alt F4 glitch to work, you need to press Alt F4 in a 4-frame window. So what that basically means is that sometimes you just can't get it. If you look at the same exact visual cue, sometimes it won't work. But thankfully I got it right here. Missing it means that you have to reset basically. Makes you lose like 5 seconds. This is also kind of precise here. If you get blocked by the snakes, you might not be able to make this cycle here through the pendulums. Like, you need to pay attention to your stamina management and patching here. And doing that without the shield is even harder, because you don't have the extra stamina regen. That's one of the reasons why I pick up the shield. The other reason is the Balder Knight we saw earlier, because sometimes you need to block him. Other than that, the cycles in Sense Fortress are always the same. So even though it's like one of the areas that people struggle with casually, it's kinda easy in speedruns. Because it's always the same from when you load in. If you don't like do anything different, then it should always be the same. You do a quit out here to get rid of the boulder. You could backstep through it, but that would be slower. And since we use the in-game timer, when you do a quit out, you don't actually lose any time when you're in the main menu or during the loading screens. So it's often faster just to quit out than to wait for something or go through an animation. I unequip the S-Stock there so I can punch the snake out of the way without losing stamina. And then I re-equip it because I need it for the Iron Golem fight to do the move swap glitch. You can also see here that I have the bow in my right hand so I can keep bow toggling while also having the shield out for the extra stamina regen. You do a move swap there in the fight, because after you move swap you're in mid-roll range. So you're running a bit slower, and since you need to wait a bit in the fight, you might as well move swap during the wait. It is a bit annoying though if you fail the move swap, but the run is so short that you basically just YOLO a bunch of things. Yeah, the fight is pretty easy, because all you need to do is deal 400 damage under his knee to stagger him, and then 200 more damage to make him fall off. And the critical plus 5 deals enough damage that even without the red Tearstone ring, it's a really easy fight. Then it's time for an Londo. Maybe the most reset heavy part of the run, at least this late in the run. I've lost like, I don't know, 10 runs or something here. So what you want to do here is you want to have RTSR for ONS. And basically what that means is that you can't heal in an Londo. Otherwise you need to run to a Silver Knight and get hit by him, and that makes you lose a lot of time. And healing is also slow in general. So that's why you reset a lot in an Londo, because if you get hit you die. And there are many enemies here that can just hit you. But yeah, I got good RNG there on the rafters. It's pretty common that you need to do a running attack to push the Bane and Guardians out of the way, or you need to block them or roll them or whatever. And they can throw throwing knives at your back, or they can throw throwing knives at you while you're climbing the ladder. And they can also do this thing where they basically like warp into the backstab animation. So they do like a jumping attack and then immediately backstab you, and there's nothing you can do about it. So it's like one of the worst parts of the run in that sense. It's really easy to die there. And it just happens a lot when you don't heal. It's something you need to accept when you're running this game. Right here I turn my camera around so I can see what the Batwing Demons are doing. But if I see them walking or running, it means that they won't throw any spears. I don't know why that is, but if they're walking or running, they won't throw anything. Same right here, I could hear that they were walking, so I didn't have to turn my camera around or do any dodging. And this is actually one of the... Well, I guess I keep saying that everything is the worst part of the run, but this actually is kinda annoying. Because you don't have anything to knock the Silver Knight out there. So if he doesn't do that attack, like if he keeps shooting arrows, you're just gonna lose time. In some other routes you have the Drake Sword that you can use to like push him off. But in this one you don't, so you need to get lucky there and you need to get a running attack from him. You drop down here and you're in RTSR range. That's why I took all the falls in an Londo and why I didn't heal. And then I move swap before the fight. You can move swap in the fight itself, but I hadn't practiced it and it can mess up the RNG sometimes, so I decided to not go for it. I actually got the worst possible opener right here. Basically there are 3 different openers you can get at ONS. There's the lightning opener, there's the dash opener, and there's the walk opener. Usually you want to get the dash opener because that's the most consistent and the fastest one. But the walk opener can also be basically just as fast if you play it well. But the lightning opener is usually an issue because Ornstein, like you want to kill Ornstein first. And when Ornstein does the lightning attack, he doesn't come to you immediately. So you're gonna end up being closer to Smo. So right here I just had to YOLO the fight and hope I get lucky, and I got lucky here. But that's what you need to do in a short run like this. Like, you can't play it safe at all. Especially this late in the run. Like, I don't have that much time to lose. So I got really lucky there that I got that hit, that I got a counter hit there. And that I even hit him because he was jumping right past me. And that basically saved this whole run. Now I need to wait for the poke attack because that attack has like an instant hitbox. And I got it. So that was actually a really good on-sign for that opener. And not something you can always get. Something that you probably can't get most of the time. And yeah, small went fine. But I had to take the slower elevator here. I think this elevator is like half a second slower than the smaller one. Like, it's not a big difference, but that elevator is a bit slower. But I had to take it there because I didn't have enough time to make it to the other elevator. And now you do a quit out to skip the door animation, which saves a few seconds. Then you kill Guinevere to get the Lord Vessel because it's faster than talking to her. And then you dark sign out because you don't need any souls at this point anymore. It's time to do the last warp in the run. This is also similar to the one you did in Sense Fortress. The loading screen here isn't consistent. So you need to get lucky here to actually get this, even if you hit the right visual cue. Like, it's the same visual cue and the same loading screen that you have for the Sense Fortress warp. Because your last bonfire is still the same, and I guess that's kind of what determines it. And I obviously got it right here in this run because this was a PB. If you miss it, you lose like 20 seconds, so the run is over if you miss it. Even once you get to the Kiln, there are still many things that can go wrong. There's this RTSR setup here. Like, I do certain patching, I run to the right and then I run to the far left to bait out the running attack from the Black Knight. And it seems to work fine most of the time. But sometimes he still doesn't do it. Also, there from the second Black Knight, I got the only attack that will hit you. Like, there are many different attacks that he can do, and that's the one that you need to roll. But thankfully I was ready for it in this one. So I switched to the S-Stock here before the Fog Gate, and then on the Fog Gate I switched my shield to the bow. Because I need to move swap at the start of the fight. I do a move swap, I roll a Quinn's Opener, do a rolling attack to have one hit stagger, and then spam running attacks for the rest of the fight, other than the very end. Okay, so right here, what I do here is I parry Gwyn and do a riposte, because when you do that you get a faster death animation. But the problem is that I don't have a shield. So there are two attacks that Gwyn will usually do. There's the slow attack and then there's the fast attack. And the problem with this run is that the fast attack will just kill you. Like, it's almost impossible to parry. Like, normally what you do with the fast attack is you block the first one and you parry the follow-up. But actually the issue is that I don't have a lot of HP. I have a shield, but it will kill me through the shield if I try blocking it. So I need to get a slow attack here, and you get it like maybe half the time. Maybe a bit less often than that. But there's also another thing you can get here. You can get a crab attack that you can't parry. That will make you lose like 3 seconds. And I wonder which attack I got here. I guess we'll find out. Oh, what a surprise, I got the crab attack, and that made me lose 3 seconds. But then I thankfully got the slow attack afterwards. And now right here you do a quit out to skip the end of the animation and warp to outside of the arena and reach the credits immediately. And that's the run. Unfortunately, my goal was getting sub 2010, and that obviously wasn't sub 2010 because of the crap attack at the end. But other than that, it was a pretty clean run execution wise. I didn't get the best RNG, but I played pretty well, so I'm kinda happy with this run, even if it's going to be my final run or whatever. So thanks for watching, everyone. I'm sorry, I have a bit of a cold right now, so that's why my voice is kind of weird.